College football for 2026 is just a few days away. Who are some of the surprise teams that you need to pay attention to? Listen, they may not win the national championship or make a big playoff run, but this is the start of something special. We'll dive into that in just a second. Welcome to another college football podcast. If you love talking college football, I don't care if it's in June, if it's in the heart of college football in November, I hope you'll subscribe. I hope you'll pass it along to all of your friends, your neighbors, anyone else who loves college football, and let them know, hey, I'm breaking down their team. So I really do appreciate it. If I haven't said it already, it is free. All right. So if you look at the thumbnail, you're looking at some interesting teams up there. Most of these teams, except for one, is rebuilding or they're in a new era. Let's take a look at the thumbnail. Let's start off with Appalachian State. Appalachian State is in year 2 with Dowell Loggins as the head coach. This guy was the offensive coordinator back in 2024 for South Carolina when they had a really good season. Lenora Sellers was doing very well. And a lot of people, because of the success of that offense, thought that the Gamecocks were going to do amazing last year. And let me tell you, I told the Gamecocks, and obviously you can see my Clemson garb around me. I'm not a Gamecock at all. But I told them, I said, look, just in the spirit of fairness, Dowell Loggins is really good, and you lost him. And you replaced him with Mike Shula. And I said, I just don't think this is going to work out. And midway through the season, they fired Mike Shula as the offensive coordinator. And they struggled. Dowell Loggins is a really solid coach. Now, I mean, he's a head coach versus a coordinator. And sometimes that doesn't work out well. We've seen coaches who were really good coordinators do very poorly as the head coach. So far, in Boone, North Carolina, that's not the case. Let me talk about this for a moment. First off, if you've never been to Boone, North Carolina, if you're within driving distance, you need to go. Kidd Brewer Stadium is one of the most enjoyable stadiums to go to. Good grief, the stadium is cut into a mountain. If you go during the fall foliage, I feel weird saying that, it's really, really beautiful. There's not a bad seat in the house. And they really have it going on up there. Let's talk about the recruiting for a moment. In this season, for this 2026 recruiting class that will be playing this year, they signed the highest rated class in school history. They signed the highest rated class in Sun Belt Conference history, and they signed the highest rated player in the history of their school. Jordan Harris. He's out on the edge. This guy is unbelievable. Now, on top of that, they've brought in a bunch of Power 4 conference players. They took a lot of players out of the transfer portal from a lot of big-name schools. And I'm telling you, they are buzzing up there. They love their Appalachian State Mountaineers, but this year they're feeling pretty good. Now, if you look at the preseason rankings, I mean, it's always kind of jumbled according to which platform you're looking at, which magazine you've opened up. But Appalachian State has been picked to finish 5th in their division of Sunbelt. Sunbelt's broke down into the East Division and the West Division. So for some of you who don't really know that much about Sunbelt Conference, James Madison, who was just in the college football playoff, they're in that East Division, as well as Old Dominion. They won 10 games last year. Troy is on the other side. But Appalachian State, I'm looking at this prediction of finishing 5th within their division, and I'm just shaking my head going, I don't know that I see that. And I think this team, between their success recruiting, the players they've brought in via the transfer portal, and Dowell Loggins looking like he is getting some things going on in Boone, who, I mean, we all remember the game against Michigan in 2007, but folks, they've They've done more than that. Remember, they went to Texas A&M and beat them. What, in 2022? So that area up there, they love their Mountaineers, and I think they're going to have something a little more to cheer about than what everyone else is predicting. So Appalachian State, we'll definitely see how they do, but this is definitely a team that I'm paying attention to, and I think that you should as well. Let's talk about California. California Golden Bears has not been good in a while. Sorry, I'm going through my notes here. They have not been good in a while, but pump your brakes, my friends. Tosh Lupoi was the defensive coordinator at Oregon last year. And the Golden Bears says, hey, we want to bring him home. They fire their coach. They bring in Tosh Lupoi. Their starting quarterback, Jaron Keave Sangapolitelli, had an unbelievable freshman campaign last year. And when you step back and you look at who they've brought in out of the portal, when you take a look at just the overall persona of Tosh Lupoi, and the very first thing he did was he flew to Hawaii and made sure that Sangapolitelli did not leave. He was like, listen, I mean, we already have our quarterback. We don't need another quarterback. We have you. He had an unbelievable freshman campaign. What, around 3,500 yards or something like that? Bringing in Ian Strong out of the transfer portal, an incredible wide receiver. You need to understand something here. They are flying under the radar in the ACC because, I mean, obviously they're in California. It's kind of a joke that they're in the Atlantic Coast Conference. But remember, geography doesn't matter anymore. But I am telling you, I'm having to tell my fellow Clemson fans and tell other fan bases, listen to me. I know what you're used to with California, but I hate to tell you, you're going to have egg on your face if you don't start paying attention to them now. Let them prove that they're not that good. Because the flip side of that argument is that they go out and beat you, and you find out when there's nothing, you can't do anything anymore. The clock is at 0 and they have more points than you. And you're like, oh, they're better than what I thought. I think this team is going to be extremely improved this year. Are they going to make the college football playoff? No, I don't believe so. Are they going to win the ACC? I don't see that. But when I look at their schedule, I noticed something. They play Clemson. They play Virginia Tech, which is a team that could definitely make this list. But they're not playing Miami. They're not playing Louisville. If I haven't mentioned this, they're playing SMU. And their very first game of the year is against UCLA, who has a brand new head coach, too. So I think that very first game could really set the precedence for the season. But at the same time, I think some good things. I think some good things could happen for them, and this builds the momentum that everyone, if you're in the place that they're at, you need it. I would keep an eye on Cal. Do not overlook them. If you do, I'll go out on a very firm ledge and say you probably are going to learn the hard way. You probably don't want to have to find out that way. All right, so next up, let's talk about Kansas State. I have been telling everyone and their brother who will listen to me that K-State could be a legitimate contender in the next 2 or 3 years if, and I know that whole word comes up with a lot of scenarios, and there's a whole saying, well, if a toad had wings, blah, blah, blah. Great, wonderful, you're right. But there are some instances when you use the word if, and it's way more likely than this scenario over here. Colin Klein is in his very first season as the head coach at Kansas State. And some of you are like, Brian, who cares? Okay. Follow my line of thinking. If we go back to 2011 and 2012, Coach Snyder had been back in Manhattan, Kansas with his second stint at K-State. And in 2011, if my memory serves me correct, it's right off the top of my head, it was either 2010 and 2011 or 2011 and 2012. They won 10 ball games or more. They were a really good football team. Who was a quarterback for them? Colin Klein, their head coach right now. You're like, okay, Brian, that's cute and stuff, but that really doesn't matter. There's a lot of guys who went back and coached their team. They were terrible. Their old alma mater, they were awful. Okay, fair. Let's move forward to 2022. Manhattan, Kansas. It was their last 10-win season. Who was the offensive coordinator for Kansas State? Colin Klein, their now head coach. All right, Brian, okay, I see your lines of thinking, but I mean, it's the Big 12. It's not that big of a deal. Past 2 seasons, the Texas A&M Aggies, under the leadership of Mike Elko, who, by the way, I have a ton of respect for Elko. That man can coach. If you're new to watching my channel, if you've never heard my thoughts on coaching, I know the NIL is like the low-hanging fruit, and yes, it's impacted the game. I'm not saying that it hasn't, but I promise you this. Coaching still matters. Just ask Bloomington, Indiana. You can't get away from that one. That's the blaringly obvious, like, yes, coaching still matters. Who was leading the offense for Texas A&M the past 2 years? Colin Klein, Kansas State's now head coach. See, as he has been interjected into each scenario, he wins every time. Mike Elko could have pulled anyone in the country to run his offense. Colin Klein was his pick. This guy has something. He has the it factor. He knows how to win. He knows how to get the most out of players. There's some guys, they'll go and coach at a big school where they have more talent than the prior school. And believe it or not, they don't coach that well. Sometimes they have to be coaching players who are not 5 stars. And it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird to notice that, but or to even encounter that, but it's true. This guy flourishes no matter where he's at. There's something different about him. Now, we could go through their roster and we could talk about who's coming back. Would they have Avery Johnson, the quarterback? He's returning. We could talk about some of the players they've pulled. But the truth is, it really starts with Colin Klein. And the Big 12, listen, if you're a Big 12 fan out there, I'm not knocking you. I know BYU is there. I know Arizona. They have some solid chances of doing some good things in the Big 12. Obviously, Texas Tech and all that oil money, the question, the verdict's out, the whole quarterback situation that went on. But listen to me. Between Colin Klein being a good coach and then the Big 12 not being amazing, don't be shocked if they do pretty solid this year. But in the next few years, he actually builds a team that they can go out and beat the crap out of some big-name teams. And you're like, whoa, what just happened? Well, they have a good coach, and coaching still matters. So keep your eye on Kansas State, because I'm going to tell you, I believe that they could do some really unbelievable things. We have 2 more teams here, and I'm going to dive into Navy. Now, here's the thing about Navy. Brian Newberry took over just a few years ago, and in that very first season, just to tell you the truth, it was not good. No one was lining up to check out Navy. No one was like thrilled at what could or couldn't, or what could happen for that team. And I'm not being a jerk here, but it didn't look good. And of course, it was a changing of the guard there. I mean, that had a coach there for many, many years. But here's the deal. This guy comes out in the American Conference last year, had an incredible season. They beat Army. They only lost 2 games. They lost at North Texas, and they lost to Notre Dame. Other than that, they won 11 games, 7-1 in their conference. Now, here's the key. Here's the key. They did lose Blake Horvath. And he, along with Heidenreich and Alex Teska, that's about 68 to 69% of their offense gone. All right, that's still a big deal. Do you realize that Navy is predicted to not only contend but potentially win the American Conference again over the likes of Memphis, UTSA, and Army? Also get this. You have teams like Tulane, who's now dropped to mid-tier. Why? Well, they lost their coach. He's at Florida now. What about North Texas, who had that unbelievable season? Well, guess what? That entire team plays for Oklahoma State, including their head coach is now leading Oklahoma State. So between some of the changing of the guard and then just overall looking, and I tell you where I think a lot of this comes from, where a lot of people believe in Navy to continue to do what they've done, is that they return 4 offensive linemen. Do you realize in the style of offense that they run? And not only them, but really anyone in the country, if you return 4 of your offensive linemen, a lot of good things can happen. But especially in this style of offense that they have, a lot of people believe that Navy's going to make another run this year. And you can trace that all the way back to Brian Newberry. Brian Newberry, I think, is one of those coaches who a lot of people, they overlook him. They overlook their approach because they're running that hybrid wing T offense. Brian Newberry can coach, and he's proven it and proving it and proving it and proving it. And that proves what I say all the time. Coaching matters. Coaching matters. You will get the results out of those guys if you just accept coaching matters. Here's my last team you need to pay attention to. This is a team that since 2011, I think they've won 10 or 11 national championships at the FCS level. And it's a team that I enjoy watching from time to time. Now, it's a long way from my house, but I'd love to go up to Fargo and see a game. But North Dakota State said, look, we've had all this success in the FCS, and they could have stayed FCS and just continued to dominate, and they would have. But you have to remember that they've left the confines of the FCS league, and they have beat Power 4 schools and Power 5 when there was Power 5. Excuse me. Remember a few years ago when Deion Sanders had that really good team with Travis Hunter and the Sanders brothers and Horn, a team that won a lot of games. In the very first game of the year, North Dakota State, with all that hype around Colorado, with all that star power, almost beat them at Boulder. Almost beat them. And it took a freak play to beat them. North Dakota State said, you know what, we appreciate what's went on at this level, but it's time for us to take it to the next level. Yes, that's cheesy, but it's true. And I tell you this is one of those teams that you need to keep your flipping eyes on. Why? Because they have a really good coach. Tim Polasek has led this team for the past 2 years, 26-3. He knows this culture. He's been from what I can remember, he's been part of this culture for many, many years. And I don't like to throw the word culture around because it just after a while it makes my head hurt. I'm like, I get what people are trying to say when it comes to a football team, but let's kind of define something here. Just give me a second. Every team has a culture. Just sometimes it's not a good one. Sometimes it's not a winning culture. Okay? Pulisic knows the culture of this team. He knows the types of players that they recruit in. He knows who they can get and who at this point they can't get. But that hasn't stopped them. Players they've put into the NFL, all the success they've had. I mentioned just a second ago going to Power 4 and Power 5 when there was Power 5 schools and beating them. And then going back home with a handful of money and the W. Now, this team is going to be playing in the Mountain West Conference. Who's in the Mountain West? Just a quick refresher. UNLV, led by Dan Mullen. They've done very well over the past 2 or 3 years, starting with Barry Odom turning things around. Dan Mullen had a really good season last year. New Mexico is supposed to be pretty doggone good this year as well. Hawaii, and then coming in at 4th, North Dakota State. So, hold on. Who else is in the league? Air Force, Wyoming, Nevada, San Jose State, UTEP, and Northern Illinois. So you're telling me that this school comes out of FCS, and they're already within contention of winning the Mountain West Conference? And the answer is yes. Now, I think it's going to be a tall task to beat UNLV because they're bringing in a lot of Power 4 talent. I'm not saying that it's out of the realm of possibility for them to do that. Here's what I will tell you. When you have a school who is so entrenched in a specific process and strategy that it produces 10 championships, I don't care what level you're at. I'm sorry. You have to step back and go, whoa, something crazy's going on here and there. I challenge you, go look up North Dakota State football history, or you can Google FCS national champions for the past 15 years. It's just, it is hilarious how many championships this team has won, and they're taking it to the next level. And I'll tell you this, if some of those teams who are supposed to finish in front of them, like Hawaii or New Mexico, if they don't show up with their A game, do not be shocked when North Dakota State beats them. Don't be shocked if North Dakota State plays UNLV and contends with them, maybe even potentially beats them. It's a team to keep your eyes on. If you love college football, these are the moments. These are the moments that can get really, really interesting. And if you love watching college football teams, aside from your specific school, obviously I'm a Clemson fan, and I have my Clemson channel. You can go check it out. You just type in Clemson football YouTuber. You'll find me online. With that said, I love college football, and it's teams like this in these situations, maybe the changing of the guard, or maybe entering into the FBS, or maybe losing some of those top players like Navy has lost, but they still have the coaching staff. They still have the offensive linemen coming back. It's so much fun to watch. And again, if you're watching this on the live stream right now, we're 5 days away from the opening of the 2026 football season. Thursday night will be the beginning of week 0. And of course, in a couple of weeks, we'll be sitting in that week 1 kickoff. All right, folks, tell me in the comments section, who are some teams you're watching? Do you have these teams on your list? Maybe I should have included Virginia Tech on this list. Maybe I need to create a video talking about teams that a lot of people are expecting something of them, but I really don't think they're going to meet the expectation. That could be fun as well. I hope that you'll pass this along. Get in here, say hello to a few people. Army, it's good to see you, my man. Bama is named Keelan Russell, the QB1. Hey, man, we will see. We will definitely see. Scotty King in here. Memphis will surprise everybody. Scotty King, I'm telling you, my man, Charles Huff can coach. And I know that people don't like how he's bounced from team to team, but Charles Huff can coach. And I'm telling you, this is a job that if he could do well at Marshall, he can definitely do a really good job at Memphis with that fan support and, of course, the money. Good to see you in here, Scotty King. Everyone, check your phone. Make sure you're subscribed. I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers. And if you want to help out because you like what I'm doing, you don't have to drop any money. All you have to do is hit the subscribe button. Also, YouTube has this thing called Hype a Video. If you hype the video, it helps out my channel for free. So look down, if you're on your phone, look down at the comment section. You'll see these little dots, like you can scroll over and hit hype. And then the last thing, please pass this along to your fan base, all of your friends. You're like, hey, there's an independent dude over here, no strings attached, talking about college football. He can speak freely. If you like that sort of thing, hope you'll pass it along on Facebook, the forums,